how are you doing? I'm Toshi. I'm a character designer and illustrator working in animation and children's book industries. I'm headed to Komeda Coffee to spend some me time while waiting for my grandma. I haven't done any art-focused video for quite a while, so today I'm gonna share how I draw and make a black and white illustration on iPad Pro using Procreate. The illustrations you just saw in the intro were all done digitally by using Procreate. I used to use Photoshop for all of digital artwork before, but since I was introduced to Procreate like 7 years ago, I have almost exclusively been using Procreate to create artwork, including professional ones. The reason is simply because I particularly like the traditional feeling that Procreate can achieve, and more obvious reason is that I can draw anywhere whenever I carry my iPad. A little disclaimer, my techniques I'm sharing with you today are nothing new really. If you are familiar with Procreate, you may have used it at some point along with your art journey, but I hope you enjoy the process of my drawing nonetheless. Alright, let's get started. I had no idea of what I was gonna draw until the moment I decided to film the footage and make this video at the cafe, so from sketching to the final, it took me roughly 70 minutes. The concept of this piece is basically coming from my potential picture book idea that I was developing a while back. I didn't have the time to collect references for this one, so the visual idea came from all in my head. When I sketch for an illustration piece, as you see, it's pretty rough and simple. I tend to work very small in the sketching stage. It's a thumbnail basically. It's a personal work, so I was figuring out the detail throughout the process. When I create these types of black and white illustrations, basically I use 3 brushes, which are nothing fancy. They are the default brushes in Procreate, so you can adjust the setting as you want. Recently, I used an additional brush called Maxu Pastel Natural. Maxu brush packs are widely popular, so you might already have one. If you don't know where to get them, don't worry, I'll leave the link down below in the description. I have to say, when it comes to the quality of traditional feeling like in graphite and charcoal brushes, Procreate has definitely raised the bar higher. I have tried to adjust the setting and make traditional brushes out of default and some purchased third-party brushes in Photoshop, but even with Photoshop, which I have used over 10 years, can hardly achieve the level of quality in my opinion. Okay, sorry for the derail. The core technique I use for this type of illustration is masking. Procreate has 3 types of masks: alpha lock, clippy mask, and layer mask. Let me explain each of those just quickly. First, alpha lock. When you use alpha lock, you can only paint on previously painted area. To use the function, tap the layer you wish to apply alpha lock to, then tap the alpha lock. Once you have alpha lock, your paint strokes will remain inside the painted pixels. Next, clippy masks. How clippy masks work is that the paint on the layer below a clippy mask will determine which parts will show. You can make a new layer above the shape or painted area and tap the layer and tap clippy mask. Now new paints only affects on the previously painted area. Lastly, layer masks. This is the one I use for the black and white illustration I'm introducing you today. You can modify a layer mask to hide or show any parts of its parent layer without erasing any content. That's the beauty of it. To use this feature, you need to understand how layer masks work. Whether parts of the layer mask are painted black or white will reveal different parts of the layer. Layer masks work in the grayscale, so any black areas of the layer mask will be hidden, whereas any white areas of the layer mask will reveal the artwork underneath. To apply a layer mask, tap the layer you wish to apply a layer mask to, then tap mask. Your new mask will appear above and attached to the selected layer. Why layer masks play an important role for creating this particular type of black and white illustrations is because you need to keep the brush texture as much as possible, and to do that, you don't want to put on too many strokes, not even a few. Also, you need to lower the opacity to give more depth and value and make your brushes as much as possible and paint lightly. However, it's nearly impossible to make a shape by a couple of strokes, especially if it's small parts in detail. So that's when layer masks come in handy. You can keep the texture and get to choose where to hide and show afterwards. So that is it. I hope you had fun with this video and got something out of it. If it was helpful somehow and you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you are more than welcome to. Alright, thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.